If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to BAM. Shout out to my homie Cable J454. Make sure you check out his channel. And he's been streaming, a lot recently, so go check him out. He sent me this video about Tekken streams react to the worst Tekken patch. But before we get started, I just want to state that it feels so good to be right. It feels good to be right. That's all I'm going to say. I have told fighting game fans and forums and whatnot for over 10 years that these fighting games will continue to get worse and worse with patches and balance updates, but nobody ever listens to me. You listen to these big timers, these big streamers. Oh, they know everything, right? Oh, let the tournament players decide how these games should be balanced. Not everyone else. Not people like me and many others. Oh, let them decide. Let the esports players decide how these games should be balanced out. And look what happened. Year after year after year after year, these fighting games continue to lose more and more and more interest over time. I didn't say at launch. Over time, people start to care less and less about fighting games. I cannot tell you how many of my friends that I talk to this day about fighting games, and they look at me with fear in their eyes, saying, I'm not good at fighting games. I get my gluteus maximus whooping fighting games. I'm just I can't play fighting games. I'm not an esports player. This is what y'all have done. You have caused people to run away from a genre that I actually love. But it's okay, guys. It's okay. This is all perfectly fine. This is all perfectly normal because the sales, guys, the games are selling well. As long as the game is selling well, that's all that matters. The game is selling well, and that's all that matters. Hype, guest characters. I can't keep having this same conversation with the fighting game community. I can't keep being that person that's just literally a whisper that goes from one ear out the other. I can't keep talking about this. When I used to say stuff like adjust the handicap, that's impossible. It makes the game worse. When I would say stuff like, hey, in offline mode, let players be able to disable some of these features. It can't. It's already embedded in the game. When I tell folks to cool it with the guest characters, no, we need more guest characters. When I would tell folks to make sure that the story makes sense in fighting games, the story doesn't matter. When I would tell folks that we need more better, tutorial modes, just like Killer Instinct 2013, no, the tutorial modes are just fine. When I would tell these fools that we need more game modes, oh no, it doesn't matter. All we care about is the online training and the single player modes with the survival, and that's it. And what has happened over time? Oh, don't worry. People bought the bait. They still bought the games. But while these games are selling, they're still struggling. And this just, it blows me away. Almost every fighting game I've been seeing for the past 10 years, they do well. They sell their millions. Some even if they're lucky 10,000, they're indie or 100,000. But then afterwards, it's like they just fade. And it's like tournaments have to keep them alive. And now the tournaments are the one that determine how these games are supposed to be played. It's like they can no longer be fun anymore because they're so competitive. So it doesn't matter what I say or what anyone else says. Fighting games now have to be competitive. They have to be competitive. So you might as well just put sports under the category now. It's not for casuals. It's based on sports now. Like you have to know all these mechanics and whatnot just to enjoy, have fun in the game, and it's just nerve-wracking because people, they play games and they want to have fun, but they can't even have fun because they gotta be MLG Pro, whatever is out there these days. They have to, or otherwise they're going to get stomped. It's just every fighting game's like this. Every single fighting game's like this. Every single one of them. So I'm at one of my favorite sites when it comes to fighting games, which is the fijisales.fandom.com. And let's go ahead and look at the franchises real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and just read this off. Street Fighter from 1987, still at the top, 12.2 billion. Mortal Kombat 1992, 5 billion. Virtua Fighter, 4.08 billion. Interesting. Now, when it comes to the top highest grossing video game because of fighting games, guess who's still number one? Street Fighter 2. After all these years, 21.215. Now, let me see if I can make sense of this. Street Fighter 2, 2.215 million. Virtua Fighter 2, 2.467 million. Mortal Kombat 2, 1.694 billion. And I understand these are like sales in total from like 1991 to, whatnot. But like Mortal Kombat 2 for 1993, 2002, 1.694 million. Street Fighter 2 for 1991, 2008. That's during the release of Street Fighter 4. 21.215 million. It's baffling to me that out of the top three, this is still a thing. Killer Instinct, 661 million. Wait, that's 661 million. So my bad. Mortal Kombat is 1,474 million. So, that doesn't make any sense. Actually, it does. My apologies. My numbers are just off. But anyway. So software sales, franchise, Mortal Kombat, 85 million. Still number one. Super Smash Brothers is catching up with Mortal Kombat. 75.64 million. Dragon Ball, 65.8 million. Tekken, 58. Street Fighter, 56. And then we have the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, which is 30 million. Now when it comes to games, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate now is at the top of 35.14 million. So it was at 20 million, now it's at 35.14 million. Still the top selling fighting game. Tekken 7, 12 million. Street Fighter 2, 30.7 million. Mortal Kombat 11, 15 million, which is way more than Mortal Kombat 1. And let's see, Street Fighter 4, 10.5 million. It's just baffling to me. But you want to know something? These fighting games only hit the millions. And if we're talking about a game like in general that's ever hit the billions, like just a franchise, as a franchise, 12.2 billion, but as a game, 21,215, the gross, which is in millions of dollars. Since 1987. Can somebody explain to me why these fighting games continue to struggle? Can somebody explain this to me? These supposed games that have all of this hype. Because I get that people say, oh, it's not about the sales, but without the numbers being shown to the corporate heads and stockholders, they're not going to make another game. They're going to look at this and be like, this is a waste of our time. That we have to slowly wait, 5 to 6 years just to finally see 10 million sold? Don't get it twisted. Mortal Kombat, 11, and a lot of these new generation fighting games, they took years to hit that number. It didn't just happen, like a Call of Duty or, or an Assassin's Creed game or whatnot. Or like any AAA game. It's not like, oh wow, this sold like hotcakes during that year. This took years to hit that. If I worked for these companies and I was told, oh, you'll get your bonus in like 2, 3 years once we hit that, so I have to work my tailbone off for some DLCs and some season pass just to finally get a bonus? Folks, I don't know what to tell y'all anymore. And when I told you all that when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate finally hit the top selling fighting game, I warned y'all about this. More and more fighting games are going to go towards the casual market. Did I not say this? Did I not say this? That means that they're going to add all of these mechanics and whatnot to cater more to the casuals. Y'all didn't listen to me. And there's nothing wrong with catering to the casuals, but when you cater only to them, you alienate, well, the tournament players, the esports players. So it's a problem. That's why you see all these fighting games with a lot of these mechanics akin to Super Smash Bros. And if you don't believe me, look at how the fighting games were made back then in the 90s. They emulated Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Almost every single one of them. But Smash Brothers is now the new king. Now they're emulating Smash Brothers. Oh, here's a new mechanic. Here's how to make this simplicity. Here's how to add more combos and whatnot. And it makes the game even more unbalanced and broken and busted. So what happens? Well, you go into a certain Steam CD key site, and you see these games being sold for $6, $10, $14, $18. I'm talking about the full version of these games. The Ultimate Edition, the Superb Edition. Because all of this stuff does is drive away almost everyone. Online's dead, so now you just have a game with all this content and no one barely to play it with. How does one fix this? You don't introduce a bunch of mechanics. One or two and that's it. Listen, when Soul Calibur 2 was released, they introduced one or two new mechanics from Soul Calibur 1, and I was hooked. A new way to have faster versatile combat, and the soul gauge break, or the soul shield break, maneuver. That was it, and I was happy. Soul Calibur 3, they added a new mechanic, character creator. Awesome. It's great to add mechanics and new features, but when you add too much, you drive away one or the other. You either drive away the casuals or you drive away the tournament players. When it's too much for, the average gamer to comprehend all of this, they're going to go elsewhere. And that's what happened. And yes, Tekken, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat are still making their money. But they're not seeing the sales numbers of AAA games. They're not seeing billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not seeing that. So you see a fighting game, a new one, and it's a risk because you got some tournament player that looks at the game and says, oh, the DP's off, this off. Oh, well, I don't like how those punches are implemented. Oh, look at the animations. Look at the art style. And then it just destroys the hype of the game. And then we go back to where we started. For over 30 plus years. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. And this cycle it's this vicious, monopolistic cycle is never, ever going to end. When BlazBlue tried to step up, yeah. It's sad, man. It really is sad. It's sad that out of all the awesome Guilty Gear games, Guilty Gear Strive is one of the top selling Guilty Gear games at only 3 million copies. It's no wonder why fighting games are literally they're trying to withhold content. They're trying to add guest characters because they're struggling. They're trying to figure out what is it that we're doing wrong. We don't understand. When we ignore the casuals, we fail. When we ignore the tournament players, we fail. When we try to appease them both, we fail. What is it that we're doing wrong? We implemented, a free-to-play mode where people could try out the characters for free. We simplified the combat. What is it that we're doing wrong? I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. You're adding too much. With the mechanics side, you're taking away features that worked in previous games, and you're trying to implement new ones. You're removing characters and selling them for almost $10 a pop. You're doing all of this, and once again, Smash Brothers is still the top-selling fighting game. When are we going to have a fighting game that is going to dethrone Smash Brothers, that's going to actually, and Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat, that's actually going to take this seriously? It's impossible. Because everyone's like, well, we got to have this. I mean, we had Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That was an amazing game. 3 million copies sold. Man, we apologize, Kira Toriyama. We apologize. I mean, we just need something that is different and new and fresh. Because I'm sorry, I don't want to be 40 years old with my college degrees and, and whatnot, working on my graphic novel, hearing about Street Fighter 8, Tekken 10, Soul Calibur 8, and another reboot of a fighting game that should have been out years ago. It's getting old, man. And people are just like, you're not giving us anything. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Every time you release a game, the online's broken. You mess up the balance patch. You nerf this character. You do this. You irritate people by burying a character that people loved for years, or you make a joke out of them. It's like all this extra stuff, and then people wonder why the fighting game community continues to suffer. All of these memes, all of this stuff, and now it's backfiring on all of y'all because people are just like, they're just growing tired of it. And you want to know what they did to the fighting game community? When Monster Hunter Wilds came out, they went on to Monster Hunter Wilds, and yeah, the game had issues, but once they fixed those issues, people back on Monster Hunter Wilds. 1 million players at launch. Why can't a fighting game ever hit 1 million players at launch? This is what game developers need to start asking themselves. Again, now these are indie companies, you're excused, you're fine. But when it comes to AAA companies, Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, like the directors themselves, I understand that they're close to retirement, but they need to ask themselves this. What is it that their competitors are doing that they're not doing? And why is it that the only numbers that they see when the game launches is maybe close to 100,000, but never 1 million? They don't have to add all of what Monster Hunter, like games like Monster Hunter Wilds or Resident Evil do. They don't have to do that to see those numbers. All they have to do is just do something different. What attracts me to video games, man, is difference. I like Street Fighter because of difference. I love Mortal Kombat because of difference. I like Tekken because of difference. It was different. Now they're all just emulating off of one another. Now Tekken has super special moves. Now Mortal Kombat has super special moves. Now this game has super special moves. It's like, yeah, of course people are going to get bored. Of course they're going to get bored. Of course they're going to say the game's awesome and play it, and then they're going to get bored with it. Because you have nothing to offer. Smash Brothers has a lot to offer. A lot to offer, and that's why people keep playing, and that's why people keep praising. That's why people make sure that that game, pretty much is able to have all of these high sales. Keep all these high sales because it's Smash Brothers. That's why. It's Smash Brothers. Sakurai-san sat behind closed doors while working on Smash Brothers and has been observing how fighting games worked for the longest. He mastered it. He learned from others. He learned from the developers, and bam, When everybody would say, "Oh, Smash Bros. Isn't a fighting game; it's a party game," he proved everyone wrong that Smash Bros. Can be a fighting game. Now everybody for almost close to 10 years is trying to figure out what Sakurai did. Let's add this special move. Let's add let's add more cinematics to make Tekken look more realistic and whatnot. I don't play fighting games for realism. It's great that you have like realistic moves and martial arts stuff, but if it sacrifices the speed and overall fun of the games, what's the point? Sometimes you need to be like a Guilty Gear and just go nuts. It's baffling to me how fighting games continue to just struggle this much when it's the answer is right in front of them. And I'm just waiting for the day while I one day study this subject, of course, psychology, for them to finally figure it out. You need to make fighting games more enticing instead of being too scared to innovate. You're scared. That's why all of these fighting games look pretty much the same, not gameplay wise, not mechanic wise, not graphics wise, but when you actually play it, it just feels the same. Like, yeah, it feels somewhat different, but mostly it feels the same. With Tekken, it was a new experience. Now it's 7 and 8 just seems to like, they're like the black sheep of Tekken. Yes, Tekken 8 is fighting game of the year and everything, but warn people, man, that when stuff like this happens and you let the wrong stuff win game of the year, this is what you get. You get a broken mess of a game. I uninstalled Tekken. When I learned that Heihachi was brought back, I uninstalled again. Like I said, it only takes one thing, one simple thing for me to see to make me say, yeah, this isn't worth my time anymore. And while everyone else is still going to keep just trying to find some glimmer of hope, I'm just going to look at you. I'm just going to look at you. When people say, oh, Virtual Fighter is going to be the Mortal Kombat, stop saying that. We're not trying to get fighting games to kill off one another because competition is good. We are trying to push these game franchises to do better. It's not copy. It's to implement a mechanic that makes sense. Something that makes sense where people are like, ooh, this is nice. A lot of these games cost so much money to make, right? And it is still baffling to this day how some of the most innovative fighting games are the lowest selling fighting games I have ever seen. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's a miracle that a lot of these companies that worked on these fighting games are still around to make another one. I'll tell you why, because maybe back then fighting games weren't so demanding. Now that they are, and they're costing more money, they have to implement all of this nonsensical DLC, bull dung. Which, yes, can irritate a lot of people, but it's the only way these games can survive. Call it greedy all you want, but you gotta look at the sales. Look how much fighting games sell. Look how much a typical mobile RPG, AAA RPG sells. Tell me you wouldn't be desperate to just have a few DLCs on there and see if people would just buy. So yes, Christian Ronaldo or whatnot had to be added. Mr. Ronaldo had to be added to the new Call of the Wolves game. Yes, Mortal Kombat has to rely on guest characters, and as proven before, when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was struggling, when they started adding a bunch of guest characters that people actually wanted for years, the game sold like hotcakes. It's not really, the fact that, oh, guest characters are the answer. It's the execution. And Smash Bros., despite how we feel about it, has implemented guest characters perfectly than any other game. And the sales have shown and proven this. If we're speaking from a business standpoint, fighting games need to step it up. If we're just speaking from Oh, innovation standpoint, fighting games are doing pretty good on that. So if that's the case, and we have to constantly keep making excuses, then why is it that they keep struggling? Seriously, you know, whoever's in charge of the Tekken teams, Street Fighter team, and the Mortal Kombat team, they need to think, what can we do to finally see one of these fighting games not only hit Game of the Year, but to hit the sales of a Call of Duty game. If a fighting game ever, one, not a franchise, hits 1 billion in sales, that would be record breaking. That would be amazing. Or better yet, how about 100 million? There we go, 100 million. If they can figure out a way where they can hit that number, it would be record breaking. Now I understand that a lot of companies have tried and tried and tried, but the reason why they're not hitting high numbers is because they're too similar to one another. They have to branch out and try something different, because apparently, from what we're about to react to, whatever they've been doing for the past 10 years is only working so far. They really need to do more research. And I know this is going to be difficult for them. But I believe in them. I know they can do it. It's just, as for me, I don't know what else to say anymore, because I've been saying it for the past 10 years what they need to do. And nobody listens. Nobody listens. So it's like, I got to sit here and watch this catastrophe unfold. And it's a humbling experience, and they need to understand that it takes more than just confirming crossover events from the past. It takes more than just introducing a new character and making them OP. It takes more than just, giving us an amazing story. Hey, Jeremy, how's it going? It takes more than just trying to, give us an amazing art style. Go back to the drawing board of the 90s, man, and figure out what made these fighting games well. And you want to know what I feel the answer is? It's going back to those games that we call terrible. Those awful fighting games that everyone likes to make fun of. Someone needs to actually take the time, replay those games, and focus on what is one mechanic that they got right. And I think, no, and it can't just be Matt McMuscles doing it. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. It has to be someone else that's willing to see the good, even if it's terrible, and really think about what is it that they did wrong. Because remember, folks, the X-ray, feature is nothing new. That was a feature that was innovated by, unfortunately, the failed Tao Fane Fist of the Lotus on the original Xbox. They took that mechanic, the X-ray, and that's all they did. That's all Mortal Kombat 9 did. If you don't think for 1 second that these AAA companies don't have someone go around and play other people's games just so they can take their ideas, then you're silly. Because that's what they've been doing for years, and now y'all starting to understand that, interesting. Because that's what a smart person does. So that's pretty much what I want to say. I'll be right back. I'll give me some oranges and some fruit. And I just want y'all to understand one thing and one thing only. And this is another reason why hype games like Bleach, Rebirth, or Souls, even though I like the game, is gonna fall flat. Unfortunately, no matter how much DLC they add to it. It's because they have to understand fighting games are a delicate genre. You can't just have hype, a great story, new mechanics, an amazing tutorial mode, and a bunch of game modes that have never been changed in over 30 years. You gotta do a little bit more than that. It's time to really think about, why is it that Smash Brothers is the top selling fighting game, and implement that into, oh, that's cool, yeah, Mortal Kombat on the Switch. nice game, and implement that into other, into your next, title. When Diesel Legacy tried this, the only reason why that game didn't do so well is because the controversy of Mike Z. People don't know whether to believe the man or not. So it's like, oh, is he innocent or is he not? So controversy can pretty much destroy your game no matter what. Now, with all that being said, I want y'all, once I come back, we're going to react to this video and we're just going to have to be in awe and just shake our head. And we got to ask ourselves, what did we learn from this? Imagine yourself as a game developer, right? And you are seeing this and witnessing this. All these streamers with hundreds and thousands of viewers, 1,000 viewers, 200 viewers. These folks, these tech streamers have thousands of viewers, probably even more than that. And you are a big, well-known game developer. You just released the latest patch, and this is the reaction. And you have to ask yourself, holy crud, what are we going to do? And this is what I'm saying. And for what we're learning is these game companies being decisive on who should play their game and blah 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 doesn't work. It doesn't work. It always backfires. Oh well, this person's SFW, so I'm gonna let them play the game instead. And then that same person will take the money, laugh, and not even play the game again. Versus the person that you were judging because they were NSFW will probably have played that game and streamed it for you for a whole year. It just they just never learn, man. They just don't get it. So with all that being said, I will be back. I am gonna go ahead and I'll be back. I'm gonna go ahead and get some more oranges, and then we're gonna all react to the Tekken streamers react to the words Tekken patch by Bam. Make sure you subscribe to Bam. And we're just going to have a nice discussion about it. This genre, man, continues to struggle. This is one of my top favorite gaming genres. And it is just, it's not even sad anymore. It's just hilarious because these are highly intelligent individuals that know what they're doing. They just want their way to work. And they're learning that, no, they have to adapt. They have to try something different and new while implementing the same strategy that worked years ago. And if they don't want to do that, well, enjoy only seeing 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 6 million, and if you're lucky, 10 million copies sold, while other big AAA games see, 100 million and whatnot. Or it's just, uh, you just hate to see it. That's why people a bunch of bread you want because it expires. All right, I got my yogurt. I got all my fruit. Let's do this. All right, so here we go. Tekken streamers react to the worst Tekken patch. No, they're gonna make another Mortal Kombat. Plus, it's gonna be another Mortal Kombat movie. So a lot of people are already having their predictions about it, just like the Minecraft movie. So, also I watched the Electric State movie, or I read about it, and I understand why people don't like it, but it's not the worst movie ever. Goodness gracious, people just love to be dramatic these days. Anywho, let's do this.
Options from Libertador, so that's one of the big changes for her.
So what's happened here is everyone's just react to this patch, and a lot of people are just kind of frustrated. I kind of fail to see why people are angry. I guess it's like, oh, I have to work harder just to beat opponents now. So
options from Libertador,
oh,
so
weird.
that's one of the big changes for her.
How fucking dare you? How goddamn dare you? She can floss now. How dare you?
Remember that technique?
The devs.
It was quite strong at one point. Now she can go into the Libertador.
She flosses now.
Yeah.
Jesus. She always had that? Bullshit, chat. They're gaslighting you. There's no
You
way.
can choose not to go into the stance if you want to as well.
I mean, yeah, she's a streamer. Streamers do that type of
There's no way they
stuff.
let that shit fly under our noses the whole time. Absolutely.
I love this
disgusting.
community.
Between that, what's the difference between that and his old hell sweep? I don't see a difference. It just looks cool. Why would you do that versus the other one? Front fate.
Yes, it is possible to get up that quickly. I tested it out just few moments ago.
The giant swing and shining wizard will be homing now. You can see the effect. The giant swing and shining wizard will be homing now.
Yeah, this is penis cancer.
So you can't go to a combo anymore on this.
Wait! It doesn't. Oh, they got it, this nigga! They got it, shit! They got it, this nigga!
Minus Junie, 12.
Thank you, bro! The Danny carried! Who else carried? Run the Black carried! Rafe carried! Who else carried? Rush Young carried!
So I guess they
and also
got rid of a certain move that doesn't launch. I don't get it.
CBL carried!
Combos that would whiff.
I don't understand like the overreactions from these fighting game players.
Wait.
I wish I did.
Combos auto adjust after a side step now?
But for season 2, it's adjusted so that the character kind of recalibrates, and you have you're more consistent with your aerial juggles. Damage.
Oh! Yeah! Let's go! What the fuck is that?
Left kick, right punch, right punch.
Huh? I don't get it. Like, what's everyone like so upset? I mean, they've been doing this for years, where certain characters get nerfed, certain characters get buffed. So I really don't
you can also
understand.
go into Jaguar Sprint.
で2発目カウンターで
the game was gonna be, you know,
the second
unbalanced.
hit
So
hits, then it is a normal combo, natural combo.
Asuka's gonna be S tier, bro. I swear. Don't. I'm not on the record saying that. What the fuck are these Mortal Kombat animations, bro? You are shitting me, man. What is this? What the fuck?
Splat. Nah.
it is possible to move at that speed.
I'm misunderstanding.
So, you know, obviously it is during the heat state, so people are freaking out in chat, you know, please keep that in mind. And Nakatsu mentioned
I love that. But guys are freaking out in chat. Guys, come on. It's in heat state. Yeah, but you can
Don't ever say
activate
that.
pretty fucking easily
Especially
in
they don't
this
even know what
game.
that means. You're just gonna make them freak out even more.
Murray, don't say things like that. I'm still Team Murray and Harada. I love you guys, but don't say things like that. Come on, it's in heat state. Yeah,
heat state.
but you know, we.
I warned
The
y'all
Ring
about that
bullshit and
mechanic
Kuma
since
bullshit,
Tekken
and
6.
frankly, some of the Kazuya Vortex bullshit, it's all in heat state. But when good players know how to juice heat, that heat lasts.
Yeah, they're gonna abuse it.
Oh, are we talking about June now?
improvements.
に一番大きいところで言うとヒートスマッシュだったこの技がヒート関連の技
Zafina. Who picks
So
these
her back for
characters?
season two, she's been quite
Hello,
good.
Brian
Mainly
King.
Focus on the
Like,
Azazel's
what the
power that
fuck?
she was able to concentrate and use in
I'll just
middle
wait for patch notes. Thank you.
other people.
Or just wait for the next patch. Or just wait till the game's complete. I can
Oh, we're
do
doing
that
King.
too. Oh wait, I'm sorry, you can't do that.
はい 全キャラ
That's
クター
not just King, but all characters.
はい以上ですかね
Kyle,
どうでしょう
I don't know what I'm watching anymore, man.
いきますよ
何が何が
All characters
ごめんなさいねもう徹夜で用意したけどスティー
throws in heat do chip damage if you break it.
レイのさっき対戦で見せたから
そうか
まあジンとか吉光
the down back right kick.
This kid about to
Are the
carry so
moves
many
that
fucking
one
scrubs.
characters.
All the zesty niggas about to beat the shit out of us in
ヒ
rank,
ート
bro.
発動から今回
So some are either confused or frustrated. So I'm just in, you know,
Season two,
Yes,
obviously,
man.
I'm in the middle. I'm just kind of
your
neutral.
opponent and
Power.
attack for her.
これがヒートになると
And during heat,
打つ球の数が増えます
the number of shots increases.
でダメージちょっと見てほしいんですけどかなり
This was an issue in Tekken 7. Why are people like
That's
freaking
not
out?
bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. There's a new particle effect for that. Different color combo for the right side. That's not bad. That's not bad. This is pretty good.
I think he's just coping. Goodness.
combo with Whiff partway through, we felt was unfair, so we wanted to address that.
これなんか
Bro, what is unfair about this Murray, you fucking idiot? It's called skill expression. You have
He said
to
skill, not
like
skip.
sidestep, realign. Hey! It's like when you are a good player in this game, every aspect what makes you better than the opponent gets nerfed, and everything gets catered to the like shit player. So now I play, and where is the like skill expression? Like when you're good, you get punished. When you're shit at the game, Harada holds your hand and maybe Murray gives you a blowjob, and then you can post on Twitter, hey guys, I got God of Destruction, thank you for Zazuke Cringe Lord 65 for giving me Discord tech. After 3 months, I got GOD. It was so hard. Man, fuck all of you.
手加減いらんで。
これバーサスモードの映像になります。こんな感じでカウンターだと
But then again,
が出るようになってます。
only Bandai Namco, right?
According to the actions, right?
I feel like it's a nerf for Lars. Not necessarily. It's more of a buff, dude. Like his down forward 3 afterwards whiffs for no
We
reason.
all wanted from
でも
Tekken
ない
8.
のに削りダメージが
When I saw
So
people
it's
talk
not
about
in
what they
the
wanted more of in
state,
Tekken 8,
but
we
you
wanted
can
more
see the,
opportunities
cover
to get some
rotation
chip damage on our opponents through all attacks, not just
で
a
これどう
couple.
やって、
More chip,
解除するかっていうのを
more chip in Tekken 8,
So,
please.
if you're the
Please,
opponent,
more.
how do you
Give me
remedy
more chip in Tekken 8. I want every attack to do chip. Everything. That's what everyone's been asking for.
Well, you better wait till the end of this game's life cycle when they announce Tekken 9 or Tekken Tag Tournament 3. I promise you, Tekken Tag Tournament 3 is going to be the most unbalanced Tekken game known to man and woman.
Oh! Oh!
You can use it up to follow up.
And whatever else y'all want to associate yourself
Oh
with.
my god! Oh! Oh! They nerfed Jin, but then they just buffed every other character and gave him stupid shit, bro.
They've been doing this for years, man. Listen, they've been doing this for years. They did it in Soul Calibur 6, Soul Calibur 5, Soul Calibur 4. They did this in Tekken 7, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. They did this in Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. The Blaze Blue games did this, but Blaze Blue actually knew how to balance out characters. But of course, they even made their little oopsies with, Kokonoe and Corvette's Asthma being overpowered, which I saw coming a mile away. It's just, fighting games are impossible to perfectly balance and fix. They're going to always have their issues. They are not easy to balance. That's why they need to be beta tested for months and months and months and months and months.
These devs dumb as hell! I got it don't even matter if they bump Devil Jin, nigga. Infidels, thank you for the raid. It don't even matter.
にできるので、まあこれがかなり強い。
So
This
if you
one is
touch
on
your
block,
opponent with it,
bro.
Then you can apply that debuff.
Gotta understand, the reason why pro players are upset because they want their money.
And she's plus as well.
So if it's at a disadvantage, of course they're gonna be upset. But again, 10 years
What was that?
we had to deal with this. 10 years just from this genre in general. Ever since they introduced the ability for these game developers to update as they make the game,
攻撃力は正義
What?
Some people mentioned that we didn't
the elders warned us that this would be an issue.
In the direction. That said, you can still choose to turn this off if you want to. In addition to what Nakatsu's talking about, there's the version displayed above the timer. And so that's
What did
another
they do
thing
right
you can
now?
choose to turn off if you want to.
You can turn it off?
自分で
And I mean that from the bottom of my fucking heart. I'm dead ass. Oh my god, Jin is so bad. Jin is so bad. Jin is so bad. Well, guess what? King got home in fucking throws. Home in giant swing and a home in fucking shining wizard. You got what the fuck you wanted. Oh man, I don't think the game can never get as bad with Yeah, look what happened. You niggas are fucking chimps. Blindly following niggas on Twitter that don't even fuck with you, nigga. Next time I advise y'all for the next year and a half, whatever y'all pursue, whatever endeavor y'all pursue, because I doubt it's gonna be Tekken. Whatever endeavor y'all pursuing, look around, read books, and pay the fuck attention. Tired of you niggas.
Read books, there you go. Been saying that for years.
LKRP って、まあ、スラッシュコマンドでできるんですね
He's saying read books and educate yourself. Jeez. Jeez
そうじゃな
Louise.
い時に出せる
So, for example, the
I16, you ain't reacting this. I16. You ain't reacting this, I16.
slash kick with a left kick and then right punch following it. That's the normal attack for her.
これがヒートになると
And during heat,
Now, while everyone is pretty much upset about this and whatnot, and completely understandable, let's just talk about how much this will cost us casuals, just in general. All right. So, oh my goodness. If you want the entirety of this game, right? So, let's just say you only want the standard edition of the game. That's $70. And then let's just say you're a fanatic and you want all the DLC, right? You want all the DLC. You want the season pass too, all of that stuff. You have to pay a total of almost $200. This is the stuff that no one's talking about. No one's talking about that. No one's talking about these characters at $8. No one's talking about that. But let's talk about how broken the game is. Okay, yes, because that's the biggest concern. But we're not going to talk about how these fighting games continue to cost so much, and they're barely bringing in the amount of money that it costs for them to be made. So right now, I'm checking the forums, and I'm just going to read some of the, some of the forum topics. Why the hell aren't there more customization options? It's over. This game is highly uninteresting to play. Season 2 changes. Anna and Paz are able to buy win. Okay, that's next week. Pay to win characters don't deserve the presence of real Tekken characters. Please AFK against the play to win characters. Let them win against nothing. They have no honor, so we'll give them so they don't get honorable fights. Kill their joy. Season 2, Tekken Talk made me uninstall the game for half a day. Holler no longer has the big boy pants. He spent most of Tekken Talk with his head down. Kind of sad to see him like this. Tekken 8 miserable daily dose. Season 2 is really bad. You got some folks who say they're happy with this. Screw you, Tekken. Season 2 is the wrong direction. Some issues with the Steam mods. Season 2's cancer. Finally, Harwan Brian Steed going to get nerfed. Tekken 8 eats too much RAM. That is true. Like I said, I don't really know what their big issue is. I think it just has something to do with like balance and buffs. And this is something that always seems to really frustrate, players. Now, this is strange because I'm checking the statistics. Tekken 8, from when it first started, right? This game used to have so many players at launch. Now it's been stuck at 5,000. Which, I guess that's okay. But then when you look at games like Street Fighter 6, 7,000. Didn't this game used to have like 15,000 players? That's concerning. And then we got Mortal Kombat 1. And this game is $16. Wow. Wow. The game is on sale. Goodness, that is just that's jarring. $2,897, so close to 3,000. Goodness gracious. Ooh wee. I. How many times have these Mortal Kombat games been on sale? I've lost track. These games cost so much money to make. So much money. I'm sorry, I'm just speechless. Then we got games like Repo. How many players does this game have? 177,606. This is more than any fighting game. If I said it once, I'll say it again. Fighting games need to pack it up. You're done. We need a break. We need a break from Tekken. We need a break from Mortal Kombat. We need a break from Street Fighter. But who am I kidding? You're going to keep asking and begging after you're done complaining that we want more. We need more of this. We need more of that. It's like, it's baffling to me. It's really baffling to me how people complain, get mad over buffs and nerfs, and then it's like, I just don't get it. What do y'all want? It is just baffling to me. And it hurts that every time a new fighting game comes out, we only see it's one of the top selling fighting games for maybe, if we're lucky, a month. And then it just dies out. I don't. It truly baffles me. Deep Rock Galactic, a game that came out 4 years ago, still has over 10,000 players. This is a 4-year-old game. I can't. Under Night in Birth 2. Barely any players. I'm baffled. I am beyond baffled. It's just, I don't know what to say at this point. This is insane. This is crazy. Somebody really needs to just take a step back and really think about what and why is this happening. Every single time a fighting game comes out, it's always like this. It's always like this. I don't understand, nor can I comprehend. You got Mai and Terry in Street Fighter 6. Capcom vs. SNK is now canon because of this game and because of the new Fatal Fury game. Sorry, Garo Mark of the Wolves game, which is the sequel. And it's just, Does this not hurt your head just a little bit trying to figure out as to how and why this keeps happening? And oh, poor Bleach Rebirth of Souls. The game that everyone said was going to, it was going to be the killer. It's going to be the killer. It's going to be one of the greatest fighting games ever. And it's still in my top 10 fighting games. And there's issues with the online, and the PC port is absolutely terrible. A game that had a great launch point, now down to 2,197 players. The game just came out. Now do you understand that when I see these fighting games, and it's bad enough that, let's just say you're someone that can't afford these $200 plus fighting games, whatnot, and you just want to buy an account. I'm just going to be real. You want to buy an account, or if you want to request an account, you want to know what type of answer you're going to get from these folks. They're going to look at you and say, get the step and get on with that. We are not going to waste our time. And I'm going to say this one more time. They literally will say, and I quote, we are not going to waste our time with these fighting games because they constantly keep updating and add a bunch of DLC. I felt that. That's all I'm going to say. I felt that. I felt that. Even the black market doesn't even care about fighting games anymore. If it has DRM, they will let it stay locked because these games are so broken and busted. It's just, man, if the black market don't even have nothing to do with you, then you obviously doing something wrong. Oh boy, oh boy. This is sad because just imagine someone really putting their heart and soul into the game, and this is what they get. Their launch number of player counts was 6,709, and it dropped within 6 days. I'm sorry, but people really need to pay attention to this. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not. I'm just being real. Their all-time peak for the Kill If game. This is sad. 181 players. No. That's sorry. No. Let's go to max. Let's go to max. It was 181 players. And that was probably due to poor advertisement. And now it's down to 5 players. You mean to tell me that this game, Kill If, which is a pretty good, fun game, only accumulated 181 players? Alright, now it's time for me to accept the truth. How many players did the new Blaze Blue game receive? So, all-time peak. Hang on, I'm trying to see. All-time peak. It was 269 players. You're kidding me. One of my all-time favorite game franchises. 269 players. From 10.2 years ago. That hurts. That honestly hurts. And Blaze Blue is a fantastic game, so that's their loss. Yet the game still was able to win Fighting Game of the Year, so that's what's up. Content Shift Extended. So I have more players. Central Fiction when it came out on PC. Still has 175 players. That's awesome. $4,773 players when it first launched. That's honestly awesome. That's honestly very heartwarming to see. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Only 2,990. Wow. I'm starting to see something. That fighting games are just losing its luster. Wait a minute. The beat 'em up Blaze Blue game had more players within 10 years than when the game first originally announced. That is just I can't even. Wow. That is just that's a wake up call when you really think about it. But what happened? How did this happen? How did this came to be? I don't know. Now let's look at Marvel Rivals. I'm just looking up games now because it's just wow. Marvel Rivals has 644,269 players within 2 months, and now there's only they lost 500,000 players. Now again, this doesn't technically mean anything. The game is making a lot of money, but in the long run, it does mean something because it's like, well, if that's the case, then what's really happening? But again, it seems to me that the biggest issue, in my humble opinion, are fighting games. They are the one genre that's really trying to figure out what can we do to get players back. And it is honestly just sad at this point because I don't even know. So now there's a thing called, well, Discord. Discord helps keep these games alive. It's like you need garbage Discord just to keep fighting games alive. Oh my goodness, this is tragic. This is absolutely tragic. And don't even get me started on Soul Calibur. If anybody still plays Soul Calibur, well, there's only one Soul Calibur game on PC. I salute you. And okay, now this is funny. Your custom characters are trash. Put in some effort. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. But if there's one game that I have to know on how it's doing, it's Rivals of Aether. Because this is honestly serious. Its all-time peak was only 6,708 players. They only have 314 playing now. That is just wild. Rivals of Aether's all-time peak. 2,828, only 300 players. So it's good that, wait a minute. Rivals of Aether, the original, has 30 plus more players than 2? Oh no. That is just, that is, wow. I can't even. That is just, that, I, Okay, so this is from 2 years ago, and I'm going to read off what someone says. Why do newly up fighting games just seem to die immediately? I know it's not every game, but even with 500 active players, online modes are going to be near unplayable for a casual player, right? Since with Regis and single player, the pool of matchable players is going to be tiny. The skill gap is likely to be unplayable for one player. I know compared to MOBAs, FPS, etc., that fighters aren't as popular, but are they really that small of a minority? Sadly, they are. Or is it that it's also an issue of just so many fighters as older titles are still played and that a big chunk of the community is focused on single player or local, area network events? I'm really curious about what people think since to me it puts me off buying any fighting game for more than $25 since I feel a good portion of the content's unaccessible or it's inaccessible. So So the answer is nobody knows. Now I gave y'all some reasons as to why this is the case and why Super Smash Brothers still understands this concept. Now, if Sakurai and Nintendo decide to work together and say, you know what? This will be the one time that we will ever allow a game on Steam with robust online. But it will be, they'll have to sign it under a Nintendo network. If Nintendo ever decides to allow Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with new characters and everything, all refined and balanced and rebalanced, to be added to Steam but they have to be connected to the Nintendo network, right? Like you have to make sure you have a Nintendo account. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Oh my Luna. Oh my Princess Celestia. Game over to all fighting games. We are talking about history making of everybody just hopping on Smash Brothers and killing off every single fighting game that exists on Steam. It will be game over. And it would be a travesty if that ever happens. Good Lord, me thinking about it is honestly funny, but it's not funny at the same time. If Nintendo ever decides to do that, game over. Every single fighting game probably have 0 players online as they're constantly just focusing on Smash Brothers. We're talking about, for the first time ever, a fighting game that'll probably hit over maybe 2 million players online. If Nintendo ever decides to do that. One time. Just one time. That's how big and monopolistic Nintendo is. And they say they have rollback netcode and they have some new characters to boot. Game over. Street Fighter and Tekken Mortal Kombat will have no choice but to pack it up for a good several years. And I think that's a good thing. I really don't like saying this, but fighting games, man, really need to go for a bit. I'm talking about the big 3. Let the big 3 go. Let them go. Let them have time to think and reinvent, because the reason why I'm saying this, and again, I know a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say. The reason why I'm saying this is because fighting games need some new, fresh ideas. I don't know why they keep screwing up. I just watch myself because I'm streaming. Why they keep screwing up with this. It blows my mind every single time. They can't seem to get this right. And no matter what new fighting game comes out, people just have less and less faith in it. It's no wonder why it's taken so long for a Dead or Alive 7 or a Soul Calibur 7 to ever be released. They're scared. And I've been saying this for a while. They are scared. They have no idea what to do. So they're spending all this money on all these fighting games, like all these mechanics and whatnot, and animations, and trying to build a story. And it's like, well, what does it matter? Because we'll never hit the sales of Call of Duty. It's baffling to me. But at the same time, I can't get mad at them. I can't get frustrated at them. Hang on a second. Because they're not lying. Fighting games need to get to the drawing board and figure out what they need to do next. Because it's going to take more than some free DLC characters or season passes or some, fancy new animations to get players to keep playing. I don't know. Remember Injustice 2 with its robust, character customization? And then they just got rid of it because they saw that didn't mean anything. So they got rid of it and they were like, alright, well, we're just gonna do this instead. One day, in the future, things will just make sense again. But until then, we just have to sit here and just be at awe at the fact that this may be one genre that may die the quickest out of all of them. Puzzle games are still popular. RPGs, MOBAs are still popular. But when it comes to fighting games, good God, they struggle the hardest. And I admire the game developers for at least trying to do something different, trying to be innovative, trying to just be, something unlike we have ever seen. And no matter what they do, it's not a failure. So don't get it twisted. It's just, we just really got to think about what is it that's causing these games to die so fast. And until we can figure out that answer, well, we're just going to be sitting here with our thumbs up our gluteus maximus trying to figure out, dang. What do we do now? What's our next step now? I want those that are into game design to never ever give up, to keep trying, to keep coming up with new ideas, but to never ever have the expectations that that game idea of yours is going to sell like a Call of Duty. And if your main goal is to not make a bunch of money, well, then that's good. That means you still have a heart for this industry. So if you have a heart for this industry, then you have to be patient with your fans. You have to be patient with those that support you. And you have to be open-minded and not just say, I'm only going to select this person, test out your game. Because that one person that's a small streamer may come across someone that's a big streamer, and they may do a collab, work together, and may help, pop off your game. And, educational way of putting it, help you pretty much make more money. Pop off means make more money. I'm telling you right now, when the next DLC character for Rivals of Aether 2 comes out, or any of the DLC characters comes out, it's not going to matter. Because they're doing it in a way that's so slow, so uninteresting, and the only thing that they're going to add is a new character that we have to wait until what time each, during each DLC update, Rivals of Aether team, we have to wait till 2 o'clock to play this game. So I gotta wait till 2 o'clock. I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna play Olympia. I'm gonna grind, and place the character, and then before you know it, the hour or two is up, and the chances of me going back may still be high because I love Rivals of Aether, but it's just like, I don't know. We seriously need to think about what to do next. We have to. We seriously need to, because anyone that's in this field will understand why I'm saying this, why I feel this way. Because, well, it will be a shame if all of a sudden we deal with yet another drought with fighting games. Again, I really hope that fighting games get better and that fighting games continue to do a lot more. But at the end of the day, if they don't get it together, we're just going to have to deal with yet another drought. Remember, a lot of people don't know this, talking to young folks, there was a time, right, where Street Fighter struggled so bad that it was under hiatus for nearly 10 years. King of Fighters was doing pretty good, and they pretty much just worked with the budget that they had. They didn't make a lot of money, but they still made amazing King of Fighter games and folks on the store because they had a heart for what they do. That's what separates SNK from the big three. Tekken, they were just dominating. But the moment they started to do what Street Fighter was doing, because they made just a little bit more money at the time, that's when they started to fall apart. And in Mortal Kombat, oh, poor Mortal Kombat. Poor Mortal Kombat. They were just trying to figure out how they could just make the game more bloodier and gory and more violent. And over time, they had to learn the unfortunate reality that their fan base just grew up. Their fan base just grew up, and they just don't care anymore as much. So all the fancy, this is all that. So now it's a big risk for games to come back. It's a big risk for, nowadays it's just a big risk. Everything's a risk. It's all a risk. So without that, and without people understanding this, we are living in a day and age where if you make a movie and it does not, sell well, you could lose your job. Like the Electric State, even though I state the movie wasn't terrible, and I feel like a few others in the minority agree so, but they understand the issues that the other, the other, YouTubers and commentators have about it. Guess what? Those folks are going to be without a job. If they don't have a plan, because of the fact that most expensive movie, one of the most expensive movies, pretty much, from what I hear, is a box office bomb. A lot of those folks that worked on that movie are going to be without work. It's just, that's how scary it is. So you make a game and it doesn't do well, and you overspend your budget, you're done. You want to know how a lot of these companies are still, up and running, even if the game doesn't sell that well? Because they don't overdo it on their budget. They only spend what is necessary, and that's that. That means they have to sacrifice certain mechanics and certain features and certain things they want to do just so they can at least sell enough so they can make the next sequel. So I feel like that's what's happening here. I feel like for these past 10 years, Capcom, Bandai Namco, the Tekken team, and, the teams behind a lot of these fighting games, they just were experimenting. They really didn't know if this would work or not. And if it did, they just kept going. So that's why we don't see a Capcom versus SNK 3. That's why we don't see a Marvel vs. Capcom 4. That's why Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, that game was all experimented. They had no idea if this game was going to flop or succeed. So all I gotta say to the Tekken team is, Kashiro Hadoro-san, you told us don't ask you for ish, and people like me did exactly that. And look what happened. Maybe you should ask your community what is it that they want, because it doesn't hurt to get some actual feedback from people that know what they're talking about. Because you constantly listen to these esports and tournament players, this is what you get. And now Tekken is in this stagnant state. Now, you could go the way of just adding Kiryu from Yakuza and make everyone happy, and that will pretty much give you a few, maybe couple $100,000 if you're lucky enough or whatnot, maybe even more than that, because Yakuza is a popular game franchise. But it's coming to the point where even guest characters are starting to lose their luster. Like if you were to announce Kung Lao as the next guest character, yeah, it'll give you like a couple, maybe 10,000, players and whatnot. But over time, people are going to be like, oh yeah, Kung Lao was in the game. I feel like fighting games need to be a lot more than what they keep showing, because no matter what they're doing, it's just causing people to lose more and more and more interest. Some people make comments like, oh, people are just lazy and they don't know how to play the game. No, it's because they have played the same game over and over and over and over and over and over again with the same end goal. There's nothing too innovative about it anymore. You see what I mean? Two players, they go head to head until their health reaches zero. Over and over and over again. See, Bleach Rebirth of Souls, why I have faith in that game, is it had something similar, but it was different, where instead of your health going down to zero, you have like individual lives. So I thought that was interesting. But of course, what made the game pretty much kind of fall flat is, let's just be real, if you're not a huge fanatic of that type of gameplay, kind of like a Kill If, you're going to get bored with the game. So it doesn't matter how amazing the story is. You added your budget to the story and whatnot, and you forgot about the main core aspect that makes the game amazing. The gameplay. So it's kind of like with Deadpool, kind of like that situation where the game is amazing, the story is awesome, the acting is fantastic. You forgot about the gameplay. It's just when you have so much of a budget and you're trying to put everything together, it's a gamble these days. You release an anime, you spend over too much of your budget, and it flops. You better have yourself a part-time job or whatnot to fall back on because you're going back to that part-time job. It's not how it was back in the day that if you fail, there was a chance that you could bounce back. You fail, you're done. That's just how it works now. So let's go ahead and finish reacting to this video, and then I'll answer any questions that y'all may have. I just wanted to bring this to y'all attention that this has been going on for 10 whole flipping, flopping years. I'm not even joking. And a lot of these pro players are missing the point. They're upset that their character got nerfed and buffed, but they're missing the whole bigger picture. This is just a sign that fighting games are just struggling this bad.
If the second hit hits, then it is a normal combo. Natural combo.
All this knockdown into stance mix up, wake up, get they bowed!
And you can use it up to follow up sequence of attacks.
あとは立ち途中 RP で、ここからもジャガース
Oh!
While standing right punch now, you transition to the jab.
Now I can see why he's upset.
と、行かないっていう選択肢も
Yo, what? They just put chip damage on a broken throw. They just put chip damage on a broken throw. I don't care how little damage it does. I don't care how little damage that is. You've got to be shitting in my mouth.
Yeah, that's exactly what they've been doing to a lot of people who keep buying the DLC and buying season passes and saying that this is okay to have all of these guest characters for over 10 years. People, 10 years they have been doing this. 10 years. 10 years, man. 10 years. And people are going to make every excuse in the book and say that's not it. Yes, it is. It has all of what I'm saying has everything to do as to why fighting games continue to struggle. I don't need to watch a video telling me the same things that I've been stating for 10 years. 10 years on and off while I was in college. 10 years, while just constantly reading books and studying, just studying multiple subjects of life. 10 years, man. 10 years. Come on, man. 10 years. How could y'all be this blind?
Are you kidding?
This was bound to happen that they was going to put chip damage.
Bro, season 2 is going to be a long season, I can feel it.
You say that now, but once they fix the issues, you're going to say that season 2's fixed now, it's best. And then season 3 is going to come, it's going to be worse. It's just an unhealthy, abusive relationship.
What do? We play Monster Hunter. We play we play Elden Ring. We play Metal Gear Solid Delta. And we also play Death Stranding 2.
There is nothing that can be done. It's been 10 years. What more do you expect? If you had something that lasted for 10 years, ever since the start of Street Fighter 4, and then Street Fighter 4, Tekken 6, and then it was Mortal Kombat 9, and all of these fighting games tried to outdo those games, right? And they have, sale-wise, but they had to perform all of these scummy tactics just to do it. So it's just people are really showcasing how tired they are. And they're moving on. They're going back to Call of Duty. They have issues with Call of Duty, but they're going back. They're saying, you know what? Call of Duty has its problems. It's a scummy game, but it's a game that I can buy the base game and still have fun. Maybe spend money on one cosmetic and still be happy and content. And that's only like what, $80? Okay, I'm good, and I don't have to spend any more money. The fact that that's the logic that people have these days versus, you know, just having a full complete game is just baffling. People are still playing Fortnite. You know, people are going back to Roblox. They're going back to Roblox. They're like, you know what, screw this. I'm playing Roblox. I'm playing the thrift store version of these games because at least it's free and at least it's fun. So that's pretty much it, man. I made a TikTok about this. A TikTok about this. And it's crazy how that whole TikTok was me describing my frustrations that I had with each game, and nobody fully paid attention to it. Nobody understood the message of what I was trying to say. Nobody understood it. Nobody got it. Except my homie, of course. But nobody seems to understand it because people continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. And it baffles me. It baffles me. Because when you try to tell these folks and they just don't want to listen, you grow tired. You just grow tired, man. Because it's just, and then you hear about it and it's just like, well, what do you want me to say? They're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. They're going to still do what they want to do. Let me see if I can find that TikTok real quick. And trust me, I want to add more to it. I want to make it a full-blown, I want to add like the actual character. I want to go all out. But, you know how the algorithm is. Oh, I gotta find it because the TikTok website's bugging out on me, like always. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? If I said it once, I'll say it again. I don't do this stuff to try to say that I'm right. I do this stuff to educate and, of course, if I can, to entertain. But through all of that, I'm just trying to show the bigger picture and the bigger message here. But, here it is. I found it. 405 views. This was posted on October 12th. Only got 13 comments, 54 hearts, and 13 bookmarks. And it's called Fighting Game Community. 30 years later. 30 years later. I literally talk about all of this. All of this that everyone's talking about the unbalanced characters and whatnot. I talked about this. It's like, man, am I going to have to make a part 2 to this? About why Smash Brothers is still the best fighting game, the top selling fighting game of all time, and it's not perfect either. It has its problems. The online is still wonky. Characters are still unbalanced, and that's the final patch. And whoever's unbalanced, whoever's not fair, you got to deal with that. Still missing game modes from the other. What was it? Super Smash Brothers, the Wii U. So not the Wii U, the 3DS version. Yeah, the Wii U and 3DS version. Missing game modes for that. Oh, I didn't care about it. Well, I and many others cared about it. And they got rid of it. It's just mind blowing. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and play this real quick, and then you give me your thoughts. You give me your thoughts, and you tell me what you think of it, because this needs to be said. Just wish it would stop doing that. But anyway, go ahead and play this. Here it is. All right, it's the desktop. Wait. Okay, so it has been playing. Cool. Just want to make sure. All right, so we'll make sure it's been playing. All right. enjoy. Oh, of course, because you know. There we go. Finally.
Greatest fighting game of all time. Don't at me, bro.
My bad.
It's been 30 years, and I can safely say that Street Fighter is the greatest fighting game of all time. Don't at me, bro. Oh, here we go again. Street Fighter's the best fighting game. We all know that it's Mortal Kombat. It's one of the top-selling fighting game franchises of all time.
85 million.
That, you know,
copies,
Tekken was
85
pretty
million
much the king of
dollars.
fighters, but then it slowly fell down, getting beaten by the likes of what's that? Mortal Kombat. I love Tekken, but come on. Oh, here we go. Storyline doesn't even make sense anymore. At least
now
with
everybody's
Street
saying
Fighter, everything just makes complete and pristine perfect sense. And besides, our games are easier to master.
That is
Unlike
true.
Mortal Kombat, what? It feels like I have to read a book or something, or like study some math equations just to learn some combos. That's because you're lazy. Do you two not hear yourselves? I mean, look at Fire God Liu Kang over here. Poor Fire God Liu Kang's just trying to bring peace among the realms, but just constant corrupted timelines appearing everywhere. What is this? Marvel vs. DC multiverse? Capcom, how long you gonna keep pushing Ryu, okay?
No, seriously.
Capcom, I love you, and there are certain things that you do that make me question, you know, your business practice, but I have to ask, how long are you gonna keep pushing Ryu and Ken? Eventually, you're gonna need to push the new generation. It's been 30 going on 40 years now. And poor Jin Kazama. I swear, Jin Kazama just cannot catch a break. This storyline should have been over, but now you're just constantly just pushing it for no reason at this point. Let him rest. They'll have a happy ending too. And I don't know, maybe push other Tekken characters, but then you keep bringing this individual interfere with the story. Like, who even is?
Oh yeah, by the way, Reina Mishima's purpose in the game doesn't matter because Heihachi's back, so...
Come on, lads and lasses. It's been 30 years. We're supposed to be together in harmony. Yes, Mortal Kombat has its issues with storytelling, so does Street Fighter, and, well, we all know Tekken has one of the best story modes of all time.
True.
Until they brought back Heihachi Mishima, and then there's Reina, and you get my point. The point is, we're here to celebrate 30 years, you know? Let's just let bygones be bygones. No fighting game is perfect, and I will say this. It's time...
No fighting game's perfect. That means... You're going to deal with imbalances. You're going to deal with characters that will get nerfed and buffed. You're going to deal with horrible online at launch. Just get used to it because they're dealing with a new interface and architecture and certain online systems. You're dealing with different people that are working on these projects. Some that are fresh from college, so they're still learning how game design works. Like, people have to put all of that into account. That the same people that worked on those games are no longer there anymore. They're not there anymore. You're dealing with new people that are working on this stuff. So that's why there's a lot of inconsistency with a lot of these games where some things work and some things don't.
For these respective game companies to move on from their flagship characters and push brand new characters. Because we're not going to live forever, and we want the new generation to experience just how amazing these fighting games are, while also acknowledging the past. What I'm trying to say is, can you please give us more new fighters?
Okay, so let me explain this, because I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this. Yes, you need new fighters. You need something that's going to bring people to these games. It not just guest characters. Guest characters only go so far. Brand new fighters. I don't care what their gender is. I don't care what their race is. Just new fighters that make fighting games feel amazing again. Heck, it's what got me into Killer Instinct Gold, and it's what got me into Blaze Blue. Those new fighters. is what did it for me. New fighters that are well refined, have interesting background stories and whatnot. That's why I love Blaze Blue so much, because it understood this concept. Unfortunately, because it was a fighting game that understood these concepts, and because it wasn't as popular, it died. It died, and I again, hats off to the developers, the artists, and everyone, the musicians, who, seriously worked so hard on those game projects, not worrying about the sales, but just focusing on the legacy of the game. And that, I know, has to be a hard pill to swallow, because it would have been nice if Blaze Blue won some awards and everything. It's just sad, man. It really is sad that, what's popular will always succeed more than what's not popular, but what could be popular, because if you're not trying to be popular, you will always suffer in some way. So, I was trying to say in that TikTok, and I could have added more about balances and stuff, but I figured you could just watch any other YouTuber and they can explain all of that. It's just, what I talked about was just one of the main problems as to why people just stop caring about fighting games. It's not really just the new characters. It's just the fact that they are introducing so much, and it's not really fair to not just casuals but the tournament players, because I don't know. It's really tough. All right, and hopefully games like the new Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves, Garrow Mark of the Wolves 2, Garrow Mark of the Wolves 2. Sorry, it's Fatal Fury, but apparently it's Garrow Mark of the Wolves in Japan, so it's just confusing. Hopefully that game, pretty much breaks the mold and does something different, because it feels like the first game, and they only introduced maybe 2 new mechanics, but it's still fast, it's still fluid, and it's still fun. So hopefully those games understand what makes, it's just, it hurts, man. It really hurts, because we just want these games to do good. We just want them to do well. We just want these games to just, I don't even know anymore, man. I don't even know anymore. Bottom line is this. It's difficult to determine these days why they keep failing. We don't know anymore. We used to have a determined factor, like, oh, this is the reason. We don't know anymore. So all we can do is just sadly see fighting games sadly make all this money, and then once it hits a peak of how much money it can make, implode afterwards. It's just going to be a nasty, vicious cycle that we're just going to have to live with. It's just kind of like with Call of Duty, except Call of Duty and other AAA games, at least they know how to break in all of their money first and then watch the game die. Why can't it just be money, this is where I have to kind of agree with the AAA developers AAA publishing companies on this. Why can't we just have a game that just steadily makes money, but at the same time, it still has a concurrent player base while adding updates? It seems to me they're just going about this the wrong way, which is why they're failing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So at this point, we're just going to have to deal with another gaming crash. And I promise, once that happens and we finally, and everything's finally, organized, and the companies that pretty much were of no good to us are scrubbed, and we have some brand new, fresh companies that actually care about the gamers, but also do care about making money, then that steady flow of new ideas and games will come back. We're going to need a lot more than Black Myth Su Wakong. Just saying. Well, I guess that's that for today's topic. Didn't expect to talk about fighting games. So, but, this is a streaming channel. And streaming channels not just talk about, I don't just talk about psychology, I also talk about games and everything. So, wow. That's all I gotta say. That was a lot. that was a lot. And the answer that I have is I truly don't know. But hopefully in the future, they get it right. So, my deepest apologies to the Tekken fan base that have to constantly deal with this endless abusive cycle. And to just any and all fighting game fans. Now, I know, and geez, I thought that the Gundam fans had it worse, but I don't know. Just, one day, they'll figure this out, and it will just be like in the old days where people could just like games and not have to worry about that stuff. The reason why people are so concerned about sales is if these games don't make money, you're not seeing them again. It wasn't like that back then, where if a game failed, hey, there's still a chance that you can bounce back. You fail, you're done. So that's with movies, that's with anime. If it flops, done. Yeah, that's it. Because with the way all the economy is, they just can't afford to just keep failing like this, because this is just completely ridiculous, concerning, and, in my humble opinion, they just need to go back to the drawing board. All right, y'all take care, be safe. Try out the Sun Summer app if you haven't already. Read the Great Myths of Aging book if you haven't already. It's literally less than $20. Man, don't give me that look. You literally would spend $20 on some cosmetics for Call of Duty or Fortnite. I know some of you would do that. And definitely give Bleach Rebirth of Souls a chance, because it's actually trying to do something different for fighting games. And Diesel Legacy. I know about the controversy of Mike Z, but just, separate the art from the artist and actually try that game, because that game is really fun. Alrighty, so y'all have a good one, be safe, and maybe I'll stream later. I'm not sure. And I want to give a movie recommendation, which is called My Dead Friend Zoe. It is a very empowering movie that pretty much harps on the topics of, surrounds the topics of, the events that happened in Afghanistan, PTSD, and dealing with trauma. So if you definitely just want something that's gripping, a little bit comedic, but also real, definitely watch that movie, because it is not receiving a lot of attention, which is shocking to me. So, and also watch Dogman, and my condolences to everyone who lost their job because the animation studio got shut down. But please watch Dogman, and please watch, that. If you can buy it, So, it's just, we are just living in some really deep times, man, where now it's like the success of a lot of these companies is now within our hands, and they continue to keep failing like this. It's not really going to ever hurt the higher ups. It's going to hurt the ones that are on a loose end and are close to pretty much about to go, be without a job. So just think about that. This is why I say that the numbers are deceiving. Yes, these games are selling millions of dollars, but ask yourself how much of that money actually goes to the artists, goes to the sound producers, goes to the janitor, goes to, the concept artists, goes to the voice actors and actresses. Really think about that the next time you see this game sold, this Street Fighter 6 sold 3 million copies. You need to really analyze and do your homework on how much money each person is making, and whatnot, and how much they got paid up front, how much they have to wait to get paid. Yeah, when you really think about it like that, then you see why the fighting game industry is truly struggling a lot. It's a scary world we live in, but there's always hope. Anyway, thank you, Bam. Thank you, Cable J Playing 454. And this was definitely a fun stream. So hopefully I was able to enlighten you, or if you just fought me, it's just blah, 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 blah. That's perfectly fine. I am going to go enjoy the rest of my Friday, because I have to deal with a long work weekend tomorrow. So I don't know what to expect. And plus, I have to leave out early because there's going to be more road work done. So I said, road, it's going to be more road work done. So, yep. Alrighty, y'all have yourselves a good one. Check out my Instagram. Check out my Trovo. Trovo is literally just Y People Y with 2 Ys. Wilkins YY for my Instagram. I'm going to pretty much upload a video there in just a moment. And definitely consider subscribing and sharing my videos. And definitely give me feedback because I always love reading comments, whether it be critical or, supportive. Alrighty.